First at 9.
Medical charity MSF called for UN inspectors to investigate an alleged chemical attack in a suburb of Damascus that could have taken place on Wednesday.
355 deaths have been reported after an alleged chemical attack in and around the Syrian capital.
Coming to you live and direct from the News First newsroom here in Colombo, Sri Lanka. This is your primetime weekend news bulletin. A very good evening. I'm Shane Silva.
And I'm Arundhati Mudanayaka. Well, the News First International Desk will have more details about the situation in Syria.
But before that, let's take a look at tonight's headlines.
The headlines on News First at 9.
President Rajapaksa in Belarus on an official visit. UN Human Rights Chief says that she did not arrive in Sri Lanka to criticize the nation.
I'm here because the government invited me. Well, I've not come here to criticize. I've come to raise human rights concerns.
The prehistoric skeletal remains from Pahiankala date back 12,000 years, reveals a study. Ratupaswala residents charge governments elected since 1994 are accountable for the issues in Ratupaswala.
1994 ඉඳලා මේ කරුණ පැහැදිලි කරද්දී නිහඬව හිටියේ සෑම ආණ්ඩුවක්ම මේට වගකීම්.
And now the stories in detail.
President Mahinda Rajapaksa arrived in Belarus today on a 3-day official visit.
The communique released by the presidential spokesperson and international media unit states that the president was received at the Minsk National Airport by the Belarus Minister of Foreign Affairs, Vladimir Mackay. The president is visiting the East European nation with a Sri Lankan business delegation who will participate in the Belarus-Sri Lanka Business Forum. President Rajapaksa and the Prime Minister of Belarus, Professor Mikhail Myasnikovich, are to address the business forum. The presidential spokesperson and international media unit stated that the president is to hold bilateral talks with his Belarusian counterpart Alexander Lukashenko and other dignitaries. The former Soviet Republic Belarus became independent in 1991. The East European nation shares borders with Russia, Latvia, Lithuania, Poland and Ukraine. The majority of the nearly 10 million population lives in urban areas, while the capital Minsk is home to about a fifth of the nation's population. Prior to his departure to Belarus, the president had inspected the construction work of the Colombo-Katunayake highway. The president's media unit stated that the 26-kilometer-long Colombo-Katunayake highway will be opened next month.
Visiting United Nations High Commissioner for Human Rights Navneethan Pillay says that she arrived in the island on an invitation extended by the Sri Lankan government.
Now, the UN Human Rights Chief made this remark while speaking to a group of reporters in Colombo this evening.
UN Human Rights Chief Navneethan Pillay met with the officials from the UN office this evening. Prior to the meeting, she addressed the media.
I'm very happy to be here. I've made 2 personal visits to Sri Lanka in 1973 and 2000, but this meeting I come as the High Commissioner for Human Rights. It's my first visit. I'm here because the government invited me. It's true that they invited me some time ago, but I prefer to wait until they've released their lessons learned Commission's report. And now I'm here to assess the human rights situation, and I'm speaking to both government and civil society, and I'm traveling around the country as much as I can. And when I go back, I will be reporting on the human rights situation in Sri Lanka to the Human Rights Council. Well, I've not come here to criticize. I've come to raise human rights concerns. And I've framed myself within the human rights standards set for the whole world by all the governments of the world, including the government of Sri Lanka. So I'm not writing my own statute. I'm looking at the framework that was also developed by Sri Lanka. So if I raise criticism, it's whether they're complying with those standards.
UN Human Rights Chief Navi Pillay arrived in the island this morning for a 7-day official visit. She is accompanied by 4 other members from the United Nations. During her stay in the island, Navi Pillay will meet President Mahinda Rajapaksa, Defence Secretary Gotabaya Rajapaksa and Minister of Economic Development Basil Rajapaksa. According to the United Nations, Navi Pillay during her stay in the island will meet with political and civil society activists. Pillay is also scheduled to visit Jaffna and Trincomalee.
In the meantime, Minister Dallas Alahaperuma commented on the arrival of Navi Pillay, the United Nations Human Rights Commissioner.
We as a country, a member state of the United Nations, respect the appointment of Navanidhan Pillay as the United Nations Human Rights Commissioner. We invited her to visit Sri Lanka 2 years ago. We extended an invitation because she will be able to witness for herself the real situation in the country. We do not have a grudge against her nor the United Nations. She should understand this. Do not promote separatism. Navi Pillay should learn this lesson from Sri Lanka. We warmly welcome her.
The Janata Vimukti Peramuna convened a media briefing today. The topic of discussion was the arrival of the UN Human Rights Chief.
Navanidhan Pillay is arriving in the country following an invitation extended by the government. It is not that she is arriving in the country, but the government is bringing her down. Inside the government, there are members of small parties. They are enjoying the benefits of ministerial portfolios and other privileges. Their only intention is to obtain a ministerial post. Such members are appointed to positions at ministries. Now this group will start voicing their concerns about the arrival of Navanidhan Pillay. We should oppose the United Nations efforts to implement their political agendas in Sri Lanka.
Navanidhan Pillayge පැමිණීමයි මේ මහින්ද මහත්තයාගේ රටෙන් පිටව යාමයි ඒක නිකන් අර ගැලරි සාමාන්‍ය ගැලරි විසිල් ගහන අප්පුඩි ගහන ජනතාවකට හොඳයි. නවදිනී පිල්ලේ ලංකාවට එනකොට ජනාධිපති ඊළඟ කතුවේ කිලීවි
There will be literature that states that the president did not give prominence to Navanidhan Pillay during her visit. Such efforts are not viewed as diplomatic dealings. We believe that the public will understand the truth.
You are with News First.
Up next is your newspaper cartoon of the day, which we selected from amongst today's English newspapers.
The second observation team that arrived in the island ahead of the Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting that will be held in November later this year toured Hambantota today.
The group comprises of 70 representatives from 14 countries. This morning, the group visited the Hambantota Convention Centre where the Commonwealth Youth Forum will take place on the sidelines of Chogum 2013. Later, the group inspected the Dry Zone Botanic Garden, which is now being developed in Hambantota.
Well, Albert Einstein was a German-born theoretical physicist who developed the general theory of relativity, one of the pillars of modern physics.
That's right, Arundhati. He was awarded the Nobel Peace Prize for Physics, the Copley Medal, and many other prestigious awards. On Words of Wisdom tonight, we take a look at the words of Albert Einstein.
The world as we have created, it is a process of our thinking. It cannot be changed without changing our thinking. Albert Einstein, theoretical physicist.
In other local news, tests conducted by the Oxford University on a prehistoric skeletal remains discovered in the Pahiyangala caves are proved to date back 12,000 years.
The prehistoric skeletal remains were discovered atop a rock slab in the caves of Pahiyangala in June last year. Last year, Professor in Anthropology from the University of Cambridge visited Sri Lanka to investigate the discovery. As there were no proper equipment for carbon dating, the remains were taken to Britain for tests. Deputy Director General of the Department of Archaeology, Dr. Nima Pereira, said that the tests were conducted by Professor Tom Higham with the use of latest state-of-the-art technology. Meanwhile, the Cambridge University is conducting tests to preserve the prehistoric skeletal remains. The remains that were discovered in the caves from Pahiyangala are believed to be the oldest prehistoric remains discovered in Sri Lanka. Deputy Director General of the Department of Archaeology, Dr. Nima Pereira, said that the skeletal remains will be brought back to the country after the tests and investigations.
The 4 suspects that broke into the residence of journalist Mandana Ismail Abe Vikrama last morning are being held under detention orders.
Police media spokesperson Superintendent Buddhika Sirivardhana said that 2 of the suspects have open warrants against them at the Avisawala courts.
4 members of the armed gang who broke into the residence of journalist Mandana Ismail Abe Vikrama down Dickmans Road, Bambalapitiya at around 2 a.m. yesterday continue to receive treatment at the National Hospital in Colombo under police protection. The suspects are from the Hungalama, Kandamodara, Avisawala, Gatahatha, Makola Road in Kirbathgoda and Ambalanthota. Police media spokesperson SP Buddhika Sirivardhana said that the post-mortem examination on the suspect, who died while being taken to hospital, will take place tomorrow. He went on to say that the deceased has 4 open warrants against him at the Avisawala courts. Meanwhile, one of the 4 police officers who were injured in the incident were discharged from the National Hospital today. Police media spokesperson SP Sirivardhana went on to note that 1 police officer is receiving treatment at the Colombo National Hospital, while 2 others are receiving in-house treatment at the police hospital.
What is the truth behind this incident? The public will follow police investigations closely.
An intellectual dialogue on the drinking water problem in Ratu Paswala took place in Gampaha last evening.
Mama, Mukhayenga Jarawa Kalane.
Some are going around saying that the Thera has formed a people's movement and is aiming at the election. I wish to clearly state that if I contest an election, no one should vote for me. I am not bothered about anyone's sports of power. However, Venerable Siridhamma Thera is one who can act what he preach. We are not challenging the administration of this country. However, I place one single challenge before you. If they can relocate that factory to Nadungamur, if you can provide the people with pipe water supply without the preliminary charge, why did you degrade our rights to mere rupees and cents? Who is responsible for this? Every single government since 1994 who was silent when facts were presented on this matter should be held accountable. All state sector officials need to be held accountable. The Department of Agriculture needs to be held accountable. The Ministry of Health as well as the Ministry of Industries needs to be held accountable for this. It is the general public who had to face the brunt of this. During this discussion, a report on the acidity level of the water in the Ratu Paswala area and the safety of the people was unveiled.